Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to start our module 4 of OpenSearch series, that is data ingestion in OpenSearch. So what is data ingestion? Data ingestion is like bringing all the data from various sources and to the OpenSearch and indexing it for searching. It is a process wherein you use this search engine and whatever data you have collected from various places all together put into this and use for data searching specific information like we do in Google. What are the typical sources wherein the logs has been collected, which are logs, metrics, events, databases, etc. So log and matrices, these are records of events and performance measurements of your computer systems. For example, you can take a web server log file which you visited. Okay, that is what a log and matrices are. Events and traces are the records of things that happen within the application. Example, the event could be a user clicking a button. That is an event. And the trace could be a detailed path of the request as it moves from one part to other. Like that is what a trace is. We also collect the data from the application logs like computer profiles, product details, whatever our application data are. Databases like MySQL, Oracle, DB, etc. APIs are application programming interfaces, which is actually a way of different software to talk each other. So we collect the data of making requests to these interfaces. Talking about the workflow, how does it works? So the workflow is basically first step in three different steps. The first step is collecting logs or events. This is the first step of gathering the raw data, and you're collecting data from various sources as what we discussed. Next step is parse and transform. So data, whatever you have collected is not clean or not in the usable format. So what you have to do, we have to parse the data. Parse means breaking down data into some smaller or meaningful information, right? So basically we transform this one into the standard format that could be a JSON. This is the best one. So this step is basically making it ready to ingest the data like we do. The third step is ingesting data in the OpenSearch. So this is the final step where the cleaned and the formatted data, which we have already done in our previous step, is loaded into the OpenSearch. And once it is done, we can start analyzing our data. We can start running searches and whatever information you need. We can create alerts and dashboard as requested. So this is how data ingestion works. Next, we are going to discuss the data ingestion tools. There are multiple data ingestion tools in the market. I'll discuss few of them like Data Prepper. Data Prepper is a tool from OpenSearch itself that handles the entire data uh, pipeline from collecting and transforming and indexing. So it is the complete process which it follows, and it is basically very good for processing the logs. So it handles everything entire into itself, and it is the OpenSearch tool itself, which is from AWS. Next one is the Cribl stream. So Cribl is basically a tool which used to pre-process your data. You can shape it, you can enrich your data, and you can route to the respective location. So basically it is sending to the right place. We can add some more information. We can do data massaging. We can do all type of regex, eval, etc. into the Cribl pipeline itself before sending to the OpenSearch. We have another tool which is Logstash. Logstash is an older tool which is from the Elastic community and still works well. Others are Beat, FluentD, FluentBit. These are like lightweight shippers. Basically, you can think like a delivery trucks that are designed specifically to collect the logs and metrics from your systems and then send to the another tool that for processing. Custom ingestion. So if any of these pre-built tools are not fitting, we can use the custom solutions like REST API, which have dedicated, or you can use dedicated libraries for programming, which are Python, Java, or Rest clients. Here we are going to use OpenSearch dev tool to demo our logs, how we can do that, which is also uh, the way we can search and analyze the data, verify, etc. So that is the dev tool which is provided by the OpenSearch itself, which we will use in this video for analysis. Let's talk about the OpenSearch dev tool. So what is this? It is basically the built-in console in the OpenSearch dashboard to interact with the REST API. So it is a key part of customer ingestion, we can say. And what it is used for, so as I told you, it is your personal command center for interacting with the OpenSearch. Here we can create, manage index, insert documents, run queries, perform aggregations, debug and test. So basically, if we talk about index, we can create here. So you can easily set up these catalogs to organize your data. We insert quickly and add new information. We run the queries, we debug it, etc. So this is basically, this dev tool is a very simple and easy to use. This is the key feature if I talk about, and it is very helpful features like JSON editor it has, which is help you to write the code correctly, and you can even see the history of your past action and pre-loaded examples which you can use to learn and practice. It is a powerful, you can say, developer friendly interface that lets you to manage your data without needing any complex command. So this is something you can use here, uh, and we can play around in the playground. So here for sampling, we are going to use some pre-loaded sample indexes which is provided by the OpenSearch Playground, uh, wherein we will look into it how we can ingest the data, how we can create the index, how we can insert a single document, or how we can insert the bulk data. So this is something we are going to do it from the OpenSearch depth tool as well. As I mentioned earlier in my previous one, we are going to use OpenSearch Playground tool, which is the built-in console into OpenSearch dashboards, which we are going to use for showing you how to do it. So before I proceed to this, I would like to go to the another URL, which would like to show you the playground of my. So this is how the playground is. This is the URL, playground.opensearch. This is the home page of OpenSearch, how it look like. Um, Specifically because today I'm talking about the dev tools. Uh, if you click on this burger icon, if you come down, sorry, here is the section called dev tools. So if you click here, you can see this is the console, which is again, as I mentioned above, built-in console, which is something we can use. Sorry, it's taking time to load. Yeah, done. So built-in console, and we can use or run some basic queries to ingest the data. However, this dev tool is provided only for read only, so I'll not able to show you the ingestion exact what is happening, but it works in the same way as I'm saying. I'll share some sample queries which you can use it to create this one. Uh, so first, if I talk about my slide, I'll show you the first step, that is index creation and data ingestion. So this is the first step, which is to create an index. What is an index? Index, as I mentioned about, is a master catalog of your data, wherein you define the structure of your data, what kind of information it contains, etc. So if we talk about this particular function of OpenSearch, here let me explain this, then I would like to show you how it runs. So if you look into this, this is the put command. The first, if you can see the slide shows the put command. In OpenSearch, put is used to create or update a resource. So here you are creating an index and we're giving this index name, which is OpenSearch dashboard OpenSearch dashboard sample data underscore log. So this is the index name which we have provided, which is the unique name of our catalog. And then mappings, which is something most important part. Mappings actually define the schema or the rules of the data. It tells OpenSearch what each piece of data look like. So if we example, if we can say times time is the date, client IP is an IP, response is a keyword, extension is a keyword in this way. So this is how it works, which I would like to show you. Let me run this one. As I mentioned above, it is the read only, but I will show you how it works. If I let me copy this create index one, and I'll go to my OpenSearch, and if I paste this here, so this is how it works. So whenever you need to create an index, you have to use the same format. The put command, as I mentioned above, you have to mention your specific index name, and if you want to put the field or not, it's absolutely fine, whatever you're going to use. Here I'm using this, and I can simply run using this icon. You can click on send request and it will create your index. In my case, because I mentioned this is read only, I don't have any permissions to create any new indexes. So we are going to use the sample index. This is the sample index which is already there in OpenSearch Playground, and I'll use the same index to play around my data. So this is how we can do, but this is the format, this is the command which we have to use to create an index in OpenSearch. So whenever you will be on your own uh, uh, OpenSearch of your organization, you can use this one. Just because this is playground, I don't have permissions to do anything to write it, but this is the way we work on it, right? So coming back to my slide, next is validate index. So as I mentioned, we have created the index. So this is the first command. We have created index. We can also validate index. So in order to validate the index, like we use the put command to create it, we have to use the get command to validate. So if I copy this from here, one second, my bad. And I will use my OpenSearch. I'll go back to OpenSearch and I'll actually run this here. Control V, as I mentioned above. So as I mentioned before, this is the sample index which is already there in OpenSearch Dev tool of Playground. And if I have to run the request, so here you can see, one second, it says, all right, so it seems like it is giving an error. Allow me a minute. Let me quickly look into this. I'll go to the next page. One second. Let me look into the sample data log. So the index which I'm going to use is, yeah, OpenSearch dashboard sample logs. I'll copy it from here. One second. Going back to my dev tools. Again, I'll paste my correct index. Maybe the spelling is not as expected. Yep. So now I'm going to run this one. Yes. So you can see it is showing you the index with the proper alias, again, all the details, etc., which has been created while creating the index, as I have shown you in my last slide. Here, the details has been defined here. in the same way, data sets, keywords, extension. There are specific fields in this index. I'll also show you wherein you can verify these fields like geo, host, index, IP, machine, RAM, memory. These are the fields which are in index. I'll show you this index pattern wherein we can verify these fields. Which is under the index management page of this. I'll also give you the walkthrough of this open search tool, how you can search, wherein we can search the dashboard management, index management, how we can search the data, how we can create an alert, you can create dashboards, wherein you can access all those things. So this is how we validate, coming back to our point further. So how we validate our index. Next is something, let me go back to my slide. Um, the next topic, which is inserting single document. So as we have already created the index, the catalog, so we can start adding a data. Here we can insert a single document. Document is nothing else but a single record or a piece of data that fits into our structure. That is something we can do. So we are going to use the post command here to add any new data to the resource. And we also mention the specific dashboard name, the dashboard name, sorry, index name, which we are going to use. So as I mentioned, we have used this OpenSearch dashboard sample data log. And underscore, and you can see this slash underscore doc. So underscore doc, which tells OpenSearch that you are inserting a single document. This is how it works. Then we mention our schema, the document data, timestamp, client IP, response, extension. So these are the fields which I'm mentioning. So it is each piece of data which matches our data types, and we are mapping it. So this is how it works. I would like to show you how it works samely as I mentioned, because we don't have write access, but we use the same format. I Let me copy this. Yes, okay. So I'm going to paste this here like this. So this is the same way you can insert a single document here, and then further you can look into, you can search if this has been done. So we are adding this specific fields with the timestamp which is of today's, and we can do it. But it will not allow me to do it, because again, as I mentioned, I don't have permissions to do anything or write anything in OpenSearch Playground platform, which is provided by the OpenSearch. But this is how we do if we want to insert in a single document. In the same way as we have inserted the single document, we can do we can also insert the multiple documents, which is again the bulk insert. We can send a multiple docs. So instead, as I said, instead of inserting one document at a time, you can use most efficient methods, which is the bulk insert, and you can add multiple documents in the single request. This is much faster when you have a large amount of data. The command, as I mentioned, the post command, like we have used in a single one, and the special is this underscore bulk. So this is the command specially designed for performing many actions at once, right? So again, we are defining the format. The format is unique. We are going to use the JSON objects, and the first pair tells objects as index is this, timestamp is this, and this allows you quickly to do it. If in the same way, you can simply as I mentioned, as I have copied and pasted the other one, you can also do it whenever you will be sending the multiple log. Basically, when we have to do any testing and other things, and if you don't have any data specifically to respect, for example, when we are creating alerts and we need data which meets our conditions, so we can insert logs in such a way from dev tools, and we can um, simply run meet a condition, and we can do it as I'm doing. So this is the way we do, wherein you can insert the multiple one, and then you can send a request. Again, mine will not work because of the right permissions I don't have. It will give you the errors, you don't have permissions. But in the history, if you can see all the history which has been done by me while searching the logs. This is the way you go it, and you can do it by your own. So this is how we work. So it is copying. When you click copy, you can again copy your same command. You need not to write it again and again, which is, as I discussed, the benefits of dev tool. You need not to type things very well. So this is how it works. Inserting logs from the dev tool itself. You can use it, and uh, as I discussed, the various commands which we have to use to insert the logs using the dev tools, we can validate our index or index pattern. Also, I will show you the index pattern, whatever we talked about. So, this is the index management field. There are multiple, which we have index management, we have dashboard management. Talking about the fields, their types. So here is the index pattern. You can also create index pattern from web itself from here. As I mentioned, this is something you can use it, and simply you have to mention your data source. You have to go next step, and you can create the like here. um, Sorry, my bad, I have copied something else. So the one way is from creating from the dev tool, and other way is the one which I mentioned from here, data from here itself. You can simply create coming. Okay, let me show you once again. So you have to click on create index pattern. You have to select your source, and you have to define the name. So for example, like this I did it, and it will match, and you have to mention the star, so it will match all the indexes. So here currently it is matching all the areas, and you can do it. So you have to mention the times field, and you can create an index pattern, but this is already created as I mentioned, so you need not to create it once again. But this is the way we can also create an index pattern from the web UI itself, which is from the from OpenSearch. Other way is creating from the DevTools if you are doing that. The next one, under the dashboard management, you can also view the your index data types. So if you search your index, you can see here all the fields, whatever fields you have. There are approximately 40 fields, and you can see all those here. You can show the page like 50 per head, and here you can see all the fields of this particular database. So this is something which is also visible on the left hand side of our search, and you can look into the types, if it is state, it is string, if it is number, or if it is float, integer, etc. This is something you can see. uh, this is something you can look into it. Coming to the searching of the data, so in order to search the data, you have to go to this is called discover. Like we search into the Google, we have a search bar. Here you have to click on the discover. So this is how it looks. Whenever you are going to look into your data, you have to specify your index. I'm going to use this one, as I mentioned about the sample one, OpenSearch dashboard sample data log. So you will able to see all the logs which are coming in last 15 minutes. Here you can use the refresh, you can use the dates and time, what time period you need to search the data, absolute time related or anything, you can use it. Here you will see all the left hand side, you will see all the panel, all the fields which are in your data is, and you can do the further analysis of your data using this one. You can do further uh, whatever information you need, and you can see your particular event have all details here, like whatever details you have in this one. So this is how it works. This is how we can search the data. Even I'll also talk about how searching the data or querying the data from the search bar, the DQL queries. I'll discuss in our next module, wherein we will talk about all the queries which we can use, term, boolean, etc. But for this is how we do, which we'll talk about in detail in our next module. Okay, so coming back to my slide, we already discussed about how to insert the bulk data into the OpenSearch. Yep, so for today that's it. If we, again revising what we have done, we talked about the OpenSearch ingestion. So whatever tools we can use in the environment, like huge, wherein we have high structure architecture, we use data paper, we can use Cribl or other REST APIs to insert the logs. Other ways, very way, as I mentioned, dev tools. So you can also use Python scripts or etc. Which can do it. Index lifecycle, if we talk about, we have created the index, we have validated it, we insert some logs, and how to query the data. So thank you for today. Meet you in the next module. Thanks a lot.